YouTube, you already know what it is, baby. It's the Skull Daddy, Skull Down, aka Yugi Skull, aka Skull Exotic. You already know. Guys, I took out Chaos to locals the other day. I didn't do so hot. I went 2-2, but it's all good. I won against like Elf Note, Pile, Angelici stuff. I won against Sky Striker. Lost to Power Patron. I think the deck clearly has some like tough matchups. And I did lose the mirror, but that guy is my good friend. Neil Pennyfield. He's, Brandon Gooster, so no surprise there. Still, sometimes a little bit of a hard deck to pilot. It's very mid-range, so like there's a lot of options up front, unlike combo, but yeah, maybe I'm like just slowly turning into more of like a combo heavy player, but yeah, I really like the deck. It plays very, very well. It's a lot of fun. The effects are fantastic. Yeah, I really like this deck. I really, really like it. I don't know how much depth I'm gonna go into it, but definitely an engine that I want to potentially start dabbling with across different decks. So yeah, let's jump right in. This is the list that I'm currently playing. Some slight tweaks based off of that locals trip that I made last week, just based off of just observations. I'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, I took branded Chaos. I don't know if this is the ideal build. Maybe the Examina build is nicer. Like, it can play Sparks and Impulse, so probably that's a nicer variant. But, I mean, you can play more Breakers with the branded version. And I had the branded cards from, like, just having branded and Elf Note. So, yeah, not much to say there. Like, no real decision-making why I built branded. But, yeah, I just had the cards. So, let's jump right in. I've got the 2 rituals. I pulled this actually from some of the winnings. Won the mat, and then I won packs that actually had this, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, not much to say there. 1 and 1 is correct. This one is like your more offensive one that you basically will set up on your opponent's turn because it will banish on summon. This one is your nice end board piece that you're going to make on your own turn so that you can reset back a spell. In Grind, this also comes up to reset a lot of your power spells like Talents, maybe High Spirits, Call by the Grave, a lot of really cool stuff like that. And they're both unaffected. They're both towers, which is really nice. But yeah, you're going to make this on your opponent's turn because it banishes on summon. This can also banish as well, but on your own turn. So yeah, they're both like really, really good. The one Farah, she's good. I mean, like, your whole end board is like, if you open your branded lines, is you make your Sword Soul girl, you add this, or Cartesia, and then you set up Mind Shuffle with this, and then you pass, right? You set up like Fallen Virtuous, some branded stuff. It's very, very like low to the ground, mid-level. This is nice just because it means that like you can hold your Mind Shuffle on your opponent's turn, discard this for the add effect on your opponent's turn, and basically turn it into a steal. So it's really, really good. Yeah, not much to say there. Beautiful, gorgeous art, by the way, guys. Look at that. That's incredible. The deck has like hands down the best art in this format, I would say. 3 black Chaos. Better going second, I would say, than him being a good starter and all. Just because him as a starter, he loses to Ogre and Ash. Meanwhile, the Griffo only loses to... and Droll, actually, loses to Droll. Meanwhile, the Griffo does not lose to any of those, with exception to maybe Ash. So yeah, really good. And then also, like, if you have your Ritual Spell Engrave and you get this thing on field... It not only is it unaffected, but Ignition, you can just banish 2 cards. Non-targeting, so it's kind of crazy. It's also unaffected. Like I said, if you have the Ritual Spell Engrave, and then additionally, what do you call it? It's kind of... What does it do? Yeah, it summons by resetting the ritual, so it's pretty good. I got 3 Griffo. This is your best starter. I don't actually like shotgunning this guy in draw just to play around like Ogre and Droll, just because it's so like you need if they Ash or Mind Shuffle, you're not ending on anything. So it's just like I'd rather actually bait out some stuff with Celtic. 2 skulls, and then 2 Celtics. I think this is like the right ratios. I even tried like 3 Celtics, 1 skull, 1 Celtic, 2 skull. Well, I felt like this was like balanced because I really want to resolve the draw through. I think the draw through is actually quite important to this deck, just simply because it baits out things such as Ash Blossom, and it refreshes your hand as well, so you can get a little bit more non-engine going. Because again, the deck really plays low to the ground. It's very mid-rangey. Very grindy, very mid-rangey. 2 Mind Shuffles, 1 Light Ritual. I think that's pretty standard. 3 Ragged. Basically just add any of your names, like Griffo, Celtic, Skull, anything you like. Then we got the big branded guys. So we got Cartesia, Ecclesia, Walbaz, and then 2 Walbaz, and then the 1G OG Baz. I really like the Cartesia, actually. I've stuck to it at this point instead of like Soul Resonator. The Soul Resonator lines are nice until like you realize you just lose to 1 hand trap anyways, so you're not actually doing very much with the Soul Resonator. But with this, at least under draw, you're getting 2 Mixosia, which can also make you a free Mirror Jade essentially on your opponent's turn. But yeah, those are pretty good. Branded cards are always classics. And then, yeah, more branded. We got the High Spirits, and then obviously the Fallen and the Virtuous. 3 felt a little bit excessive just because there's 3 High Spirits in the list. And I wanted to stick to 42. Some more non-engine. So yeah, like the 2 Fallen Virtuous, non-engine. Call by. 3 Super Poly. 3 Fua. 3 for Drawless. This is more of an extension to your branded engine. And then last but not least, Ash Blossom. A lot of people don't even play this in this deck, but I feel like you actually kind of need it for the mirror. I am prioritizing, again, lines for Celtic. So a lot of times I need more names to draw into things just to beef up my end board. So if I open, like, I don't know, if I have 2 of these, like a Harmonian and Ash, like a Harmonia Super Poly, like Harmonia FNV, I'm usually like feeling pretty good about my setup, even under Mind Shuffle, just because the whole like Mind Shuffle ritual setup, like it's not invincible, believe it or not, guys. You can get outed. Like there's Kaijus, there's, I don't know, breakers, like evenly matched. Like there's a lot that could actually go wrong against the mid-range deck if they're if people are planning for it, right? And it is a very popular deck, right? It's literally the set, it's the archetype of the set, right? So it's very much going to be prepped for. Cool. So anyways, some of the extra deck monsters. I've got 2 Super Poly targets. I got the Dogma, the Albion, the Grang, Titaniclad, Rimbrum, Mirror Jade, full art, baby. And then the Despian Coritus, as well as the Mixosia. So very big branded package. Not much to say there. You need all of these. The Grang and the Coritus are essentially your high spirits targets for some of this stuff. Like this is for your fiends. If you have the skull, this is for your spellcasters. What I really like about this deck is like we main Fua, so you can actually make your Fuvilos a starter with your Rimbrum as a target, which is really cool. But yeah, not much to say there. Very, very standard. I also really like the Mixosia because push time comes to shove. You can just make a Mirror Jade if you think a non-target banish is going to be good, and setting up like Grave, Recursion, and branded names in Graveyard. Mixosias can be like very, very nice. But yeah, that's what I've opted to play for the branded fusions. And then I got the Lulu, I got the Milan. Those are my 2 what do you call them? Targets for Harmonia. Technically, your Ecclesia is a target for Harmonia. And then a Chaos Angel, as well as your Sword Soul. I feel like you should play 6 so that we could use Harmonia twice to pop if you see like multiple copies. But I felt like this is probably sufficient for now, because I really like all my lineup for fusions. But yeah, that's that. Let's do What do we got? Side. We got 2 Pirellia. And then we got some breakers. I got 2 slots. I play 3 if I had it, but I'm just on like 2 slots and a talents. Evenly matched. And then just more branded cards, guys. I've got the Dogmatica OG, the Fleur de Lis, as well as Magna, and then the Nadir Servant. What's nice about Nadir is, because I'm playing Super Bowl and I play the Garura, I can go dump Garura, add OG Dogmatica, Ecclesia, and then it's like a free draw off of the Nadir. And then the Dogmatica can add me Fleur de Lis, which is pretty insane, not gonna lie. So Nadir is actually quite free going first within this deck. But yeah, cool, guys. Let's do some, what do you call it? Let's do some test hands. That'll be pretty cool. Let me just shuffle up my deck. You guys can look at this gorgeous Nadir. In the meantime, I really love the Nadir Servant, man. Nadir Servant was such a great card back when, like, Voiceless Voice was a deck. Like, you would not play Voiceless Voice without Nadir Servant. Like, there was just no need. And I remember I had a really good run with, like, Voiceless Voice, Dogmatica, Fiendsmith. I even was able to fit the Fiendsmith cards by, like, resolving the Fiendsmith cards before using Nadir, which was pretty awesome. But yep, now that the deck is adequately shuffled, because it was kind of, you know, sorted. Cool. What do we got here? We got, oh, unshuffled. Okay, let's do this. We'll do this. Let's put on some starters in there. Let's do like a High Spirits as well as one of our best starters, Grifo. Maybe we'll do instead of this like a Ragged Rights. Yeah, that's a good test hand. There we go. Yeah, sorry guys. I know I want to test this organically, but the reality is like my deck is like very organized, so it's gonna break like that. I didn't power shuffle. So yeah, let's start with this hand. You know, very typical hand. Like you're playing these at all at 3s, which is very, very nice. So this can come up. What I would do again, I would not do Grifo and draw. What I would actually do is bait out Ash Blossom in the draw phase because we have Harmonia to send off, or you can even go with the Grifo. But I'm gonna hold the Grifo because I'm basically gonna check for Ash Blossom. I'm gonna probably go for the Harmonia because I really don't feel like it's that big of an impactful hand trap, but it's decent, right? It's engine. And we're already going to get access to the Albaz engine anyway, so we don't necessarily need it. So we're going to go and dump a dragon. So we're going to go for the Albion. We'll send both. We'll add Fallen of the White. Awesome. So we've essentially added Fallen of White. So now we've got a hand of 4. We'll proceed to main phase. What we're gonna do is gonna go Fallen of Light. We're gonna send here the Rimbrum. And the reason we want to send the Rimbrum because now we've loaded up our graveyard with Albion, which is gonna get F and V, and then Rimbrum can potentially also get us access to OG Albaz on our opponent's turn by reviving the Fallen of Albaz, which we're gonna sink off into the graveyard. We're gonna go effect. We're gonna bring out our trusty Ecclesia. All right. We're going to sync them both off. We're going to make the Sword Soul, the new Sword Soul monster. We're going to put it in the EMZ. And we're going to use its effect. We're going to add Cartesia. Here you obviously have the option to add the Farah, but I like Cartesia because it's a guaranteed great interruption in towers with Mirror Jade, right? What you can do here actually is as following. So what I would actually do next is I would probably go Raggeds, check for Ash once more, and then go for the Celtic Guardian. The reason why I like the Celtic Guardian here is because it's going to bait out Ash Blossom one last time, right? I'm not going to respect Droll with this deck. I don't think people are going to actually side Droll into this deck. And it's at 2, so in my mind, like, it's less of a risk than, like, Ogre and Ash Blossom. Like, that, there's even Bell against your graveyard, like, DD Crow could potentially be very, very hurtful. So what I would do here is Celtic Guardian, effect. If this doesn't get stopped, let's say in theory we had, like, another name in hand, like your Chaos, your Black Chaos, or your, like, another Grifo or another Celtic or whatever. Maybe even your Rituals, any of the the spells and traps. What you can actually do is hold the other and then chain your Griffo. And the reason you would want to actually chain your Griffo on Celtic so that you don't actually draw into the bricks. And what this is doing is it's thinning out your deck, and you're essentially gaining access to your Mind Shuffle off the Griffo without the risk of drawing one of your 2 copies. Obviously, we're not going to do that because our hand right now, we don't actually have the conditions to resolve the draw 3, because we would end up actually showing our opponent our hand and not being able to draw. So we're not going to do that. But yeah, just a tip with the deck that I found working really well. So yeah, we're going to go Celtic, draw 3. Hopefully we will see some more non-engine, because right now we're just sitting on Super Poly. So we'll reveal our entire hand, and we will draw. And look at that. We did open one more piece of non-engine just to beef up our very mid-range board with Ash Blossom. So that's really nice. So this is our board right now. And then we will discard 2. What do we discard here? Definitely a Griffo. Probably do... maybe the Cartesia. I don't know. It's kind of hard, guys. It's not that easy. I'm actually gonna do the Cartesia. I'll show you guys why. So we're gonna keep these. Here you actually have some options. We're gonna go Griffo effect, right? Because they don't know we actually have the BLS at this point drawn. So we're gonna go Griffo effect. We're gonna set the Mind Shuffle. We're gonna activate all one foul swoop so we don't get ogred. We're gonna add the Skull Guardian, and the Skull will send for cost the Ritual. And then we will now add to our hand our Magician. We're going to use the Ritual effect from Grave. This can get belled, but this is why prioritizing the Celtic Guardian is nice, because if this gets belled or DD Crowed, what we're able to do is actually use the hidden effect of Celtic Guardian, Tribute, tag out, and then we're actually able to special summon our Magician, and then effect target back your Light and Darkness Ritual spell and add it back to your hand anyways. In Grind, as well as mentioned, this can also add back all your power spells, such as like your Talents, High Spirits, Called by the Grave, FNV, Fallen of Virtue, Super Poly. All of it can be recycled, which is really, really fantastic. But yeah, one of the reasons why, again, I prioritize the Celtic Garden is against that interaction where Bell can detrimentally stop your Ritual spell by giving you an additional line into your Rituals on board. But on top of that, it's draw 3. Like, that's crazy. It's OG Graceful. It's literally Graceful Charity. But yeah, let's say they don't bell us. We essentially will add back actually the Skull Guardian, the Skull Archfin, as well as the Light Ritual. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go for this. If they like impulse or like try to interact with us, which can't happen, again, you have your Celtic Guardian to slap down your Magician and kind of be done with it. But here we're actually gonna banish from our graveyard the Griffo, and that way we're just gonna end on this. Right? Very simple. Then effect, add this back to your hand. So believe it or not, this is our end board, right? This is it, guys. Again, very mid-rangey deck. We're just going to do the Sword Soul, the Magician. We're going to keep the Celtic on board. And then we're going to do these. And then we're going to go into main phase 3, the infamous main phase 3. And we're going to use the following effects. We're going to go Ecclesia, add back. And then we're going to go Cartesia, leave in the grave, actually. We're going to leave Cartesia in grave, and we're going to go Ecclesia, add back. And you guys will see why we're doing that in a second. Then we're going to go Albion, set, Fallen in the Virtuous. Beautiful. So there's our FNV. So, cool. This is our hand. We'll set the FNV. It'll just be there. So we got a hand of 5. Got the BLS ready. We have a piece of non-engine. The Super Poly. Where did the Super Poly go? Oh, there it is. A hand of 6. Sorry, guys. We're going to set the Super Poly. So the beauty of this mid-range board right now is it's going to do the following. One is, obviously, we have our tried and true interruptions in the form of like the pop for FNV if you need a pop. You also have your Ash Blossom, very typical stuff. You have your Super Poly, again, very, common interruption that you will end up on with this board. What you're going to do actually in draw is, you're going to have the opportunity to go Mind Shuffle effect. So that way you can potentially add your BLS in draw phase, so you don't get drolled, anything like that. This, at this point, is susceptible to Ogre. But with that being said, what you can actually do here is, if you're worried about Ogre, you can go Fallen of Virtuous and draw. Revive back your Cartesia because We have Ecclesia engraved, so apologies, we're actually going to be leaving the Ecclesia in the graveyard. And now, all of a sudden, what we can actually do is fuse off our Celtic and our Mystic in main phase, because Cartesian main phase only monster. And now what's happening is your Mixosia can access a Mirror Jade for free. Plus, you can, if you're really scared about getting ogred on Mind Shuffle, you can actually just bounce the Mixosia, but obviously this is going to turn into a Mirror Jade. You can bounce it back to your extra deck if you want, so that way you can keep the BLS on board. And the reason why you want to actually keep the BLS on board as a priority here, and why Harmonia is like a must in this deck, is because it protects your Mind Shuffle, but it actually also facilitates turn 0 plays. Like if you have Griffo and Mind Shuffle, you can do some pretty crazy things. We could do a target banish using the BLS that we have here. But again, in this case, we actually don't need to do any of this stuff. We can bring back the Celtic, keep the Ecclesia and Cartesia engrave. But yeah, just know that this additional body is not only serving us with protection if they try to engage with our spell in the graveyard, but it can essentially get us the ritual monster on board, and it could be used as a fusion material for our Mixosia into the Mirror Jade. So yeah, because like you're not always gonna actually like have a good time popping things with this. So yeah, be mindful that you can revive things, and it's actually more impactful this deck. So there is a lot of like hidden techniques, I would say, with the deck that, you know, if you're not necessarily too well versed with like the branded cards, like you may not necessarily see it with this deck. So it's not as straightforward as one might think. But in case we're talking about like our current setup, we don't need to go Mind Shuffle to add, just because we actually already have the BLS, so we can have that hidden information and avoid adding playing into Ogre when we don't necessarily need to. Additionally, as well, I would like to say is essentially, if you play like the Magical Hats, you can potentially go add Griffo and draw, dump the Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian adds the BLS, and then Griffo and draw to set your Magical Hats. The reason why I end up cutting Magical Hats as well, guys, is like I found like you're already setting up so many bodies on board. Magical Hats is just not resolving the way it should, because it needs space to special summon three spells as monsters from the deck. So it wasn't actually going to resolve. I was like putting way too many bodies on board before I was actually able to use it. Cool. So yeah, so what I would do is, you know, you can go Mind Shuffle effect, tag out, but again, you want to keep this on board. So maybe again, you prioritize like your Fallen Virtuous to go Cartesia fuse into Mixosia. Mixosia then can, like, I don't know, change the attribute of your opponent's monster if it's relevant. Effect. Here's where it could banish a Baz. Nice. You can banish one of your Albazes. But yeah, you guys kind of get it. You can bring back like the Cartesia and stuff. And then now you're free to like kind of bounce the Mirror Jade back into your hand. So it'll go like that, back into your hand. You'll go special to BLS. That way your back row is always protected. So that way your opponents can never banish or destroy your back row, which is really, really good. Then you go effect, banish something. In the mirror, like you need these banishments to like banish like their rituals, their monsters, their Mind Shuffles, all that needs to get banished. Then you have like your Super Poly, as we discussed. Then you have like your Ash Blossom. Yeah, very, very mid-rangey board, guys. But that's how I'm kind of thinking about the deck and the combo lines. But yeah, the whole purpose of the deck, guys, is just to survive, because it's going to be exceptionally hard for your opponent to actually interact with these towers once they're established, right? That's the beauty of the deck, is just kind of, you set up just enough cards to outgrind your opponent and out-resource them. You might draw a couple of cards, get some like cool non-engine, and then you're just going to survive, and then you're just going to kill them on the crackback, because we just have so much of it. Like you have your branded engine for recursion, it's going to add back from the graveyard. You also have, you know, your Mind Shuffle, like you can just keep summoning these guys out. You can easily add back your Black Chaos, which is incredible going second, as we talked about it, to be able to non-target banish 2 cards off your opponent's field by just having the ritual spell in the grave, which most of the time it's just going to be chilling there. So yeah, very, very fun deck, guys. Really recommend picking it up. I really love it. Also, it's just like the best art in the entire format. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. I will talk to you on the next one. Peace.